Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
Can I be greedy?
Yes, you can.
Give me something up top against the rookie.
That being Kalen Carson.
That's exactly right.
Saints break the huddle. Carson is on the far side, has Shaheed in front of him. Under center is Carr. Play action to Jamal Williams. He's looking deep, and he's throwing deep, and he's throwing for Shaheed. Shaheed makes the catch. 10, 5, deuce. See you later. Bye. No flags. 70 yards. You can be greedy, my friend, because it makes for a great touchdown.
Oh, man, I love this game.
Deuce called it, but Mike Hoss on the call there, New Orleans Saints Radio Network. That was Shaheed over the top. What a play it was. What a day it was for the New Orleans Saints. My goodness, y'all. I have a lot of notes here that I want to get into for the game, but I thought I was going to do this at some point today, but I just feel motivated to do it right now. And I'm going to level with you very much. I have my notes. I'm going to talk about the game and the team and all that stuff here in a second. Saints beat the Cowboys 44-19. I was watching the Saints on Sunday, and I'm talking about I want to talk to you as Matt, the guy that was born at Lakeside Hospital, lived in New Orleans East and Lake Carmel. Sundays were church, Shoney's Breakfast Buffet Dome. One of my favorite gifts ever was my Dalton Hilliard 21 jersey, my little Dalton Hilliard starting lineup action figure. I mean, Dome Patrol poster on the bedroom wall. Like, you know him, like that Matt, okay? Not the guy who sits here from 3 to 6 every day and tries to give you objective takes, entertain, inform, whatever. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you don't. But the guy who tries to look at things objectively, put fandom aside. I want to talk to you like as Matt the fan. The last 2 weeks, I came to this realization on Sunday. The last 2 weeks are the first time I've actually had fun watching the New Orleans Saints since the Nola no call. I was in the Dome that day with my buddy Josh Innes. We were watching the Nola no call, and I'm not just saying it because of how the Nola no call game ended. It's not that. That whole season was a vibe. Remember, they were awesome. 13-3, they got the 1 seed. That's when Choppa style, it was sort of the rebirth of the Choppa style, the bike life, Teddy Bridgewater, the Superdome, the locker room dance parties afterwards. That whole season was just so much fun to watch as it all transpired. They had the back-to-back-to-back 7-9 seasons. You wondered if it was done with Drew. 2017, they hit on the draft class. Boom. They're in the playoffs. The Minneapolis Miracle happens. As disappointing as it was, you felt like they were early. And then in 2018, it came to this crescendo, and they were so good again. And it felt like they were going to go win the Super Bowl. And they didn't. And after that, as a fan, all right, I'm talking to you just as a fan, all right? As a fan, 2019 and 2020 for me, as a fan, were miserable. There was so much angst and anxiety because we all knew that was it for Drew. Like, the window was closed. We all thought 2019 was going to be the last season. And, of course, it ended in the postseason against Minnesota. Kyle Rudolph, the push-off. We all saw it. And then, remember, COVID and everything, and then Breeze made the Instagram post that he was going to run it back for one more year, and then 20 went the way it did. And, you had a home playoff game. You beat the Bears. Then you played the Bucs, who you'd beaten twice that year, and then you lose. I'll never forget Jared Cook for that, ever. For the fumble. And then the last 3 seasons, when you've missed the playoffs back-to-back-to-back years, you were just mid, and it just wasn't a lot of fun. I mean, it was win one, lose one, good and bad, step forward, step back. It just, you weren't a contender, and you knew you weren't a contender. But the last 2 weeks, watching this team has been so much fun. And I don't know what, listen, it's 2 games. It's 2 games. I mean, that's been a hell of a 2 games. And we're going to talk about that. But this is just the most fun that I've had watching this team. Maybe it's the first time I've had fun watching this team since 2018. Through 2 games, y'all, the Saints have scored 91 points. 47-44. I'm not good at math, but they tell me that's 91. And you've probably seen this statistic, but the only team since the NFL-AFL merger, the only team to score more points through the first 2 games of a season were the 2009 New Orleans Saints. I'm not sitting here telling you these Saints are going to win the Super Bowl. What I am telling you is it's super rare for any NFL team to do what this team has done. And you could have, and some tried after the season opener, to say, it's Carolina, let's see how you fare against a good opponent. Well, if that was your objection, you don't have a leg to stand on. Because the Dallas Cowboys are a really good defense. I'll remind you that the Dallas Cowboys a year ago were 5th in the NFL in total defense and 5th in the NFL in scoring defense. And over the course of those 4 quarters, Sunday in Dallas, the Cowboys did not make a stop. Let me say that again slowly. Over the course of that game, the Dallas Cowboys did not stop the New Orleans Saints first-team offense one time. Never. 0. Through 2 games, the New Orleans Saints first offense with Derek Carr under center have had 15 possessions, and they have gotten points on all 15 possessions. We have a piece up at louisianasports.net right now if you'd like to go read it. Our buddy Ross Jackson, who does an awesome job leading our Saints coverage. He's got a piece up right now. I would highly recommend you go check it out. It's sort of an inside the numbers piece for the New Orleans Saints and what they've been able to do so far through this blazing start. And it's just a mouthful. From the 91 points like we just discussed, I mean, there's so much more. 39. Derek Carr threw 33 passes in his debut a year ago. First game a year ago, he threw 33. He's thrown 39 through 2 games. He's completed 30 of his 39 passes. He leads the NFL with a 76.5 completion percentage and 142.4 passer rating. It's incredible. We focus so much on the offense. How about the defense? They've got 5 takeaways, 4 interceptions. That's second in the NFL only to Green Bay. I mean, I could run through it, but you can go read it at louisianasports.net. It's an incredible list of superlatives. Go read it. I'll tell you, there's 2 things in particular. 2 things, in a week ago after they beat Carolina 47, the hell was that final? 47-10? Was that it? 47-10? You lose count. Dennis Allen said after the game, look, when you win a game like that, you still have to be self-critical and go look at the film and say, okay, where were the things we could have done better? And I'll tell you, in this game, there's a few things. It's easy to ignore. Remember, winning masks deficiencies and magnifies, and losing magnifies them. You missed a PAT. That's inexcusable. And Blake Grupe was awesome last week. Made all 4 field goal attempts, including 2 from 50+. He missed a PAT. You cannot miss a PAT in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb, 65-yarder. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu was coming over from his safety spot. He just overran the play, allowed. Now, Tyrann made up for it with incredible. Tyrann was incredible. But that was one of those plays where you can't let anybody, let alone CeeDee Lamb, get upfield for a 65-yard touchdown. Derek Carr threw an interception. I mean, Chris Olave was open over the middle. You got to hit that pass. He threw it wide. Olave tipped it right into the hand of a defender. Now, you came right back with it. You got the turnover right back because that's how opportunistic and awesome this team has been and how this start to the season has gone. But those are the types of things I'm sure Dennis Allen, when he talks to his team, are going to focus on. But y'all, ultimately, what this comes down to, and I know a lot of people have asked, Matt, you've been so critical of Derek Carr. Yes, I have. I think, as I've said a million times, I think Derek Carr's a great man, great husband, great father, all those things. But as an NFL quarterback, we have a 10-year sample size to suggest what he is. This is his 11th year in the NFL, and he's a mid-tier quarterback. That's what he has been for a decade in the National Football League. And I don't think 2 games changes that. What I will say, undeniably, is that Clint Kubiak has very clearly found an unlock that matches Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara's skill set. We talked a lot in this offseason about if Kamara should have gotten a contract extension. And the answer was unequivocally no. because we have seen a declining player for the last 3 years. That's objective. That's not my opinion. Alvin Kamara has declined in production the last 3 years, and he hasn't stayed healthy. You don't give a contract extension to that player. But in this offense, with the wide zone schemes, getting Kamara to the perimeter has been amazing. Look, Dennis Allen, after the game, talked about Kamara and sort of in defense of Kamara these last 3 years. Give a listen.
I never felt like he was an aging running back. I felt like he was still an explosive player, and I think we're utilizing him in a way that allows him to, be effective. I think he's still one of those guys that if you create some space and he's able to operate in space, I think he's pretty good. But yeah, I thought he ran the ball well, and I thought caught the ball well out of the backfield.
After 2020, when Kamara averaged 5 yards a carry the last 3 years, 3.7, 4.0, 3.9. This year, 5.7. He was a declining player the last 3 years. Objectively. But now you've got him in a scheme where he's able to show off. So, you're 2 games in. Let me see what he looks like through 17 weeks. But clearly, this version of Alvin Kamara is incredible. Jamal Williams is getting off in this offense as well. Everybody is. The thing we talked about throughout this offseason, remember, we had Ross Jackson here every day during Saints training camp. And consistently, the conversations we had with Ross were about how the offensive line was struggling after losing 3 starters. You didn't have great depth at receiver after Olave and Shaheed. Would it be Cedric Wilson? Would it be Bub Means? Would it be A.T. Perry? I mean, this was the conversation we had should the Saints trade for Brandon Ayuk? Remember, these were the conversations we were having 6 weeks ago, y'all. Or 4 weeks ago. And the thing that Ross said on this show that resonated with me then, and I'm probably going to reference it 100 times to the end of the season, is, well, the Saints went and invested in free agency on the defensive side. Chase Young, Willie Gay. And we sat here and asked, why didn't you go invest on the offensive line or at receiver? The point Ross made was maybe they feel like their investment was in Kubiak. They feel like their talent, their skill offensively is good enough. What they needed was a new play caller, was a new strategy. And through 2 weeks, it is hard to argue against that at all, because what they are doing looks dramatically different, and the results clearly are dramatically different. The challenges are coming, but on the road at Dallas, where they've been sensational at home, and you beat them 44-19, what hill can't this team climb if they're playing like that? I get it. It's 2 games. It's a small sample. The other big question is how teams adjust, because that's part of life in the NFL, really in all professional sports. It's like in baseball. You see it all the time. Pitchers come in. They have great success early. Once hitters learn their tendencies, they adjust. Well, pitchers then have to adjust how they pitch to certain hitters. It's no different. It's no different here. You've got 2 weeks of game film now that you've shown the NFL what you're trying to do. How do these defensive coordinators start to scheme New Orleans to try to limit what this offense has been through 2 weeks? And that's going to be the cat and mouse game. And when someone adjusts, then Kubiak will have to adjust in turn. But you got to have a lot of confidence in his ability to do so, because these early results are pretty awesome. So Saints win 44-19. They're 2-0. And y'all, like we talked about as far as the record, listen, I picked this team to win 6 games this year. It looks like I'm going to be dramatically wrong. Part of what we looked at, though, was can you be 4-3 through 7? Be 3-3 through your first 6. Beat Denver at home on that Thursday night. If you're there at 4-7 with your head above water, there's enough opportunity in those final 10 games to finish above 500, 9-8, 10-7, and win the division and go to the playoff, host a division game, host an opening round game as a division champ. Now you can start to think, all right, you got one nobody thought you were going to get. I mean, you were a touchdown dog on the road against Dallas. Don't give it back. You got one nobody thought you were going to get. Don't give it back. Don't rest on your laurels and play down in the level of competition later in the season. See how they do, man. Because Philly plays tonight against Atlanta. So next week, you're at home against the Eagles. And the Eagles are going to be traveling on a short week, and you're back at home, and you better believe the roof is going to come off of that place. when this team gets back home. Go get another one. Don't give it back. Don't rest on your laurels. It's going to be fascinating to watch. But one thing is undeniable. I'll finish where I started. Isn't it fun watching this team again? I don't know that I could have said that now for the last 5 years. It's fun watching this team again. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.